live session. This is our class on business communication. So I'm very happy that we have many regulars who have been joining every day. So we are doing business communication today, and that will be by Madhuri ma'am. But before I introduce her, I would just like to say that anyone who has not yet enrolled, please make sure that you enroll for the classes which are starting from 8th. The first week is free on YouTube. If you're here for the first time, I am Alok. I'm a company secretary, and we at Ekcel Academy are providing 1 week complete free training and coaching for students who are doing the CSEET. From Monday, June 8th, we'll be having the paid classes. We have many students who have already joined, and all of you will be getting the details of those classes on how you can attend. That will not be on YouTube. The free classes end tomorrow, that is on YouTube. Now I would like to introduce Madhuri. So Madhuri is basically a lawyer by qualification. She has also done her master's in French. Apart from that, she's been teaching for 8 years now. So she has a sizable number of years where she's been teaching students. And Madhuri is a very passionate teacher. I would like to say hi to Madhuri and welcome to the class. Hi, Madhuri.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, so nice to have you here. So, guys, before Madhuri ma'am starts with her class, we have the logical reasoning quiz. So, the logical reasoning quiz, we already put it up over there. So, we'll just go through these particular questions. So, I'll ask the question and you people can type the answers. Of course, we have given you the quiz link, but first question, which are the two types of logical reasoning? Which are the two types of logical reasoning? This is based on Vishwas sir's class, which we had yesterday. So please do let me know. Paid classes will be on the Ekcel Academy app. You can watch the live and the recorded classes. So even if you miss the live, you'll have the recorded classes. Apart from that MCQ, you'll have a host of services and support. Deductive and inductive, very good, very good. The word logic originated from which language? The word logic originated from which language? Yes. So we have quite a few people who are coming in and giving their answers. Okay. Greek, very good. So Priya has got it. That is Greek. Very nice. So who was the famous Greek philosopher who popularized logical reasoning? Who popularized logical reasoning? Very easy, very simple question Vishwas sir has put just to warm up so that you are doing. Hema, it's not Latin, it's Greek. Okay. So it's very simple. Aristotle, very good. Preeti, that is the correct answer. The ancient Indians and Buddhists had come out with more refined version of logical reasoning. What was that called? What was that called? Buddhist and ancient Indians had already had. Vishwas sir told a little detail about this concept also. What was that called? It's there in the study material also. Chatuskoti, yes, 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 very good. All of you are telling the right answer, very good. Okay, now I'll just read out. Please make sure you listen carefully. If there is someone at the door, the dog will bark, and if the dog is barking, then there is someone at the door. Which type of reasoning is this? Which type of reasoning is this? If there is someone at the door, the dog will bark, and if the dog is barking, then there is someone at the door. Which type of reasoning is this? Deductive or inductive? I'm looking at the comments. Deductive, very good. Ajesh, Preeti, Susan, Roshni, very good. Very good. Okay. Next one, again, very easy. If you were attentive in the class, don't think these questions will be asked in exam, but just to warm up and to make you feel comfortable with the subject. Logical reasoning is lot like dash, but with sentences. Logical reasoning is lot like dash, but with sentences. What is this dash? So please do let me know. Logical reasoning is lot like dash, but with sentences. Of course, today we have English and all that. Mathematics, very good. Nidhi, Kaviya, Ajesh, Susan, okay, Vishnupriya, Rishika, Chaitali, right, very Sudarshan, Niveta, Roshni. Okay, all of you are getting it, great. How many degrees does a minute handle cover every minute? How many degrees does a minute handle cover every minute? 1 minute, how many degrees does it cover? 1 minute, not 1 hour, 1 minute. How many degrees does it cover? Please let me know. Okay. 6 degrees. Very good. Very good. All are simple things, but if you are attentive in class, you'll get it. Who is my grandmother's only son? Who is my grandmother's only son? Only son. Who is my grandmother's only son? Very interesting subject, logical reasoning. See, logical reasoning is not that some student told, sir, should we be born with logical reasoning? Not necessarily. You can learn it. There are a lot of formulas. That is why we have this subject. It is a skill which can be learned. Of course, for some people, they may have a natural ability, but there's nothing wrong. So the answer is father. Who is my grandmother's only son? Father. Very good. Dad. Okay. Father. Okay, next one, please pay attention. Please pay attention. A prisoner introduced a boy, a prisoner has introduced a boy who came to visit him to the jailer. Prisoner is introducing a boy who came to visit him to the jailer. What? Brothers and sisters, I have none. Brothers and sisters, I have none. He is my father's son's son. Who is the boy? Brothers and sisters, I have none. He is my father's son's son. Who is the boy? Rishika, correct. The answer is son. Very good. Who is, last question, very simple. Who is famous detective whose website is Science of Deduction? Who is the famous detective whose website is the Science of Deduction? Who is it? Shanta, it is son, it is not nephew. Okay. Prisoner's son, very good. Hema, correctly you have given. Sherlock Holmes, Susan, very good. Very nice. So this is quite exciting. If you feel this quiz was exciting, please do hit the like button on this video. Please smash that like button so that Vishwas sir will also be happy because he designed this quiz, short quiz for you. Okay, great. So all of you are ready for English right now. So now let me ask Madhuri ma'am. Madhuri, what are we going to cover today? But before that, I'm sorry, what is part of the syllabus? What is
Sure,
part of the
Anoop.
syllabus?
Sure. So I'm going to take the aspirants through the initial syllabus, what
Okay.
all topics are covered. And then today in my session, we are going to work on the concept of communication, what business communication is, and also what are the features.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So now, as Madhuri has told her what she's going to cover today, Vishwas sir is joining us on live. He's just commented, good to know most of you have answered correctly. So since he's live, please hit that like button. And happy that Vishwas sir has also joined us live. That's great to know that all of you have attended. Of course, we have put the link. You can even take the quiz. Most of you have taken it and you can check it right there. So what I'll do is I've eaten up quite some time in Madhuri's class. So what I'll do right now is I'll be taking leave right now. I'll let Madhuri continue with the class and I'll see you guys at the end of the class. Thank you and over to you, Madhuri.
Thank you so much, Alok. Thanks. So I hope everybody is excited about class today and that you have your notebooks and your pen and paper ready with you. Yeah. So make a note of any doubts or questions that you have, and please do send them in the chat box. Okay. So I will be taking a look at my live chat here, and I'll be taking up some of the questions as well as we go along. So don't hesitate. As and when you have questions, please write them down. And good evening. Okay, thanks Vishnu Priya. Good evening. Okay, so like that, I can see everybody typing in. If you have any questions, once again, feel free to write it down in the chat box. Do keep a pen and a paper ready to make any notes. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start first by sharing the syllabus with you. Okay, so I'm going to handle business communication. So that's the first paper, paper 1 for CSEET. So what you have to know is the essentials of English grammar, as well as very important critical aspects related to business communication. So the total marks allotted for this is 50, and we're going to see what all topics are included here. So you have the essentials of good English. The subtopics include English grammar and its usage. For example, noun, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, etc. Then you have common errors in English that we tend to make. Different aspects of it, like homophones, idioms, phrases, proverbs. You have para jumbles as well. Foreign words and phrases which are commonly used in English. Then you have comprehension, passage, the art of summarizing. We move on to communication, which is the second the most important topic here. So the concept of communication, the meaning and significance of good communication, business communication and its principles. So these two topics are what I'm going to handle today before actually covering the basics of English, because I know that all of you know the basics of English. Of course, we will work on that during our sessions. But today, let's try to understand why we need good communication. Apart from that, there are different topics as well in communication. What are the means of communications? What are the modes of communication? Then you have business correspondence. So when you're working or you're doing anything related to a business, how do you send out business letters, emails? What is essential in in writing an email? How do you write it? Whom are you addressing it to? Very basic things to keep in mind. How it works, and common business terminologies, right? So these are terms which are defined under various laws, rules, regulations, and they include both financial as well as non-financial terms and expressions. So today we're going to start with the idea of business communication and what the concept is. So let me take you through that. Okay, so this is the concept of business communication. Before we begin, try to think about what you mean by the word communicate and what you think means business communication. What do you think it is? So I'm going to give you 1 minute to think about it. Okay, so these are questions that you might want to think about. What is communication? What is business communication? What is the difference between the both of these? Why is it so important? Right? Why are we stressing so much on communication and the aspect of communication? What are its features? Why is effective communication important? What happens if communication is not good? And how effectively do I communicate? With whom and why? I'm going to give you 1 minute to think about it. Try to process these questions again. What is communication? What is business communication? Why is it so important? What are its features? Why is effective communication important? What happens if communication is not good? How effectively do I communicate? With whom and why? Okay, so I'm already getting a few answers here. This is very good. So Vishnu Priya has written that the idea is to share between two people. Very good. So Darshan says it happens between two people is communication. Sharing of info. Very good, Saranya. Akriti says it's simple talking. Business communication is health talking. Okay, this is a very interesting perspective. So I can see that most of you have written that it's about an exchange of ideas, it's sharing of information, feelings, emotions, messages, right, between two or more people. So let's see. Let's try to validate your answers. Okay, so the concept of communication. So which language is the word communication derived from? The word communication or communicate is derived from which language? Yeah, so it's derived from the Latin word called communis, which means to share. Right? So like you said before, communication is a process by which information is shared between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior, right? So it may not necessarily include words. It could be non-verbal communication as well. So it is an expression of facts, opinions, ideas, or feelings. A fact is something that's happened, right? For example, there was an earthquake near Delhi. That's a fact. It happened, right? An opinion is, for example, I feel that this is a good thing or a bad thing. That's an opinion. An idea is like a concept. It's an idea. Okay, tomorrow I want to start my own business, right? So that's an idea. What I do with the business, for example, that's an idea. A feeling is whether I'm happy, I'm sad, it's the feeling that you have. And me sharing it with you means I'm communicating with you. I can't communicate with myself. Another person. It's an exchange between individuals. Now let's take a look at a couple of definitions here. There are quite a few scholars who have given us very important definitions. So let's take a look at what Hudson has to say first. Communication in its simplest form of conveying of information from one person to another, which means you need a minimum of two people, one person who sends out the message, one person who receives the communication. Okay. Now the second definition is by Kuntz and O'Donnell. Communication is the transfer of information from one person to another, whether or not it elicits confidence. That means whether or not you believe in what I say or whether or not you understand what I say, it is a transfer of information. Communication is an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by two or more persons. So this is what George Terry tells us. What does Alan Lewis have to say about it? Communication is the sum of all things one person does when he wants to create understanding in the mind of the other. It is a bridge of meaning. It involves a systematic and continuous process of telling, listening, and understanding. So basically, it means that what I have in my mind, I want you to also understand that. So, for example, if I'm thinking of the word communicate has been derived from the word Latin, from the Latin word called communis, right? I want to tell this to you. It's still an idea in my head, but the minute I try to communicate, I try to convey it to you, that becomes communication. Now, if you understand that, that means my communication was very effective. If you don't understand that, that means there's something not very good. I mean, I wouldn't say wrong, but yes, partly wrong. There's something that I need to do better to be able to communicate better with you, right? To communicate effectively with you. So let's try to understand what that means. Okay. Also, a few more aspects of communication. Let's come to that. So, as human beings, all of us have to talk, right? I mean, it's very difficult to not sometimes. So communication is an essential condition of our existence, and it's one of the most important activities of human beings. So it's a two-way process, right? It's a two-way process. Again, a repetition. So you need at least two people to allow the completion of the process. So one person is the sender who sends out a message, and the other person is the receiver. So for a communication to be successful, the exchange of ideas and information must result in imparting and understanding its intended meaning. So who imparts the meaning? Who imparts the meaning? The sender does. Okay? And the receiver receives the message. Tries to understand its intended meaning. So its purpose is to effect desired changes in the behavior of the receiver of the message. Okay, so communication is a transfer of information from one person to another. What is very, very important about communication is that the receiver must understand the message as it was intended. For example, if I tell you, please read sentence number 1. If I tell you to read the first sentence And I don't tell you properly what it means, right? For example, if I don't tell you please read it, if I say look at the first sentence, you might just look at it, you might not read it correctly, right? So that's where there's a gap. I want you to read it, but you're not reading it, you're just looking at it. There's a difference between just looking at something and reading something. Okay, so the receiver has to understand the message as it was intended. Now, how do we communicate? We communicate through writing or through speaking, right? So we mostly write or we speak. So these days we use a lot of, speaking in terms of communication. So we use a lot of telephone. We communicate by phone calls. Then we have answering machines, voicemail, voice recording, live broadcasting and telecasting as well. So we have shifted our focus from writing to speaking now, right? For example, I'm communicating with you via YouTube, where I'm broadcasting and telecasting the session to you, right? So communication, you can really use it in our daily lives. We actually use it, but it's just that we need to be a little more aware of how we do it. So let's see what business communication is. What is the difference between communication and business communication? When one person communicates to transact some commercial activity, that is providing goods or services with the intention of generating profits. So basically, if you are trying to communicate in order to transact some commercial activity, what is this commercial activity? So you're either providing goods or you're providing services. For example, if you're providing goods, let's say you are selling a camera phone, right? So you are trying to sell the camera phone to another person in order to generate profits. You'll make profits from it. If you're selling a service, for example, you're a digital marketer, you want to sell, digital marketing ideas on Facebook or Insta, and somebody is paying you in order to do that. That is you providing service to them. Okay, so you are making profit at the end of the day. That is known as business communication. But you have to tell them, right, how you are able to provide that goods or services to them. So in order to do that effectively, let's see what other concepts are involved. So what does Scott have to say about this? Administrative communication is a process which involves the transmission and accurate replication of ideas ensured by feedback for the purpose of eliciting action which will accomplish organizational goals. Correct. So Vishnupriya also mentions this here in her chat. She says both the persons need to understand the information clearly and get a feedback, right? And it happens both in a formal as well as an informal manner. Correct. Very good. So you guys have already understood this concept. So now let's try to understand the importance of communication to an organization and why it is so important for a business organization to have employees using proper effective business communication, because it not only links the various components of the organization but also its internal world with the external world, right? Imagine that I'm an organization trying to sell a drink, right? I'm trying to sell a drink, but I'm not able to describe properly that I'm trying to sell a drink. Instead, it seems like I'm trying to sell food. There's a big difference between trying to sell a drink and trying to sell food, right? So if I don't communicate properly, if I say, no, I'm just, I'm selling something for nourishment, you don't know what exactly that involves, whether it's a drink which nourishes you or whether it's food which nourishes you. So I have to be very clear in what I am saying so that the external world will understand. So in order to be proficient in business communication, it becomes very important to acquire effective writing as well as speaking skills. Unfortunately, if there is a lack in any of these effective writing or speaking skills, it could also result in a loss of business opportunities. For example, a person A wants to drink something, but I'm offering only food, right? But I say, okay, no, this is very good, this is for nourishment, and I give him some food to eat, but he's actually very thirsty, he wants to drink something. It's not going to work. He's just going to probably leave, right? Personally. and I lost my clientele. Instead, if I had figured out that, okay, no, this person is thirsty, he wants to have something to drink, and then maybe eat later, I should have given him some water first, maybe juice, right? I've sold him something. So that's how effective writing and speaking skills become. This is just a very general, very easy example to understand. You could think of various possibilities with different organizations as well. Then, most business schools actually stress on the idea and the subject of business communication. Why do you think they do that? Why do business schools have separate subjects for business communication? Why do they stress so much on this idea? Could anybody tell me? Okay, so Anushruti says that it's important in organizations because employees and managers share their idea, understand each other, all the things very quickly. Very good, very good. Any other answers? Why do business communication stress on business communication, effective business communication? Okay, think about it. Also, companies stress on excellent communication skills as a requirement at the time of recruitment. So recruiters in business organizations also look for that. So now let's come to the features of communication. So basically, it's a two-way process. The success or the failure of communication is decided by the feedback that we get. And hence, feedback is essential to communication. Communication is an ongoing process. Okay, what do you mean by it's an ongoing process? It's essential in all kinds of organizations and at all levels of management. So no manager can be effective in his role unless he's able to communicate properly, right? So this is something Anushruti had already told us. Nachiket Hegde also says that to get things done in a desired manner and the right manner. Shreya also says that management is impossible without good communication skills to manage the company's issues. Very good, Preeti. Yes, it's a communication is a continuous process. Very good, very good. Also, professional and result-oriented organizations are always looking for managers who can communicate persuasively and competently. So communication consists of not only facts, but ideas and emotions as well, right? If I'm angry, I'm going to communicate that I am angry. If I'm sad, I'm going to communicate that as well, right? Or if I have any idea in my mind and I want to tell you about it, I will do that as well. So it's not just facts. You know, for example, today the sun rose at 6 a.m. I'm not going to say only the fact, right? But the idea as well, like, okay, so I did yoga in the morning, then it was very beautiful. I was very happy, right? So your communication involves a lot more things also, apart from words, right? So your tonal expressions, your facial expressions, your hand gestures, you know, symbols, signs, gestures, all of this matters as well. So for example, if I say good job, you know, job well done. Let's say that, you know, you're not able to hear me right now. If I do this, a thumbs up, you understand what it means. Again, with a thumbs up, it's very, you know, with any gesture, it's very important to also take into account and consideration the culture that you're dealing with, right? In some cultures, it might not be appropriate to shake hands. It might be appropriate to maybe do a namaste, right? Also, it depends on the time and circumstances. Right now, everybody knows in the time of Corona, we're not really supposed to shake hands, right? So instead, what you could do is say a hi from a distance or do namaste, right? So it really depends on how you also want to use your body language, signs and symbols to communicate. Yes, because you have to take into account not just the words, but also the facial expressions and the tone, the body language which go with the words. Here, for example, a victory sign made by 2 fingers communicates better than words. Okay, we won. Then communication is a dynamic process. It incorporates the changing shape of the participants and the environment. So again, it's a very dynamic process. Let's look at this example, right? I'm right now doing a class on YouTube, and we have a lot of participants coming in, right? And the environment also matters, because if this was a classroom situation, I would probably have a blackboard with me and a chalk, but right now I don't have that. Instead, I'm sharing my screen, right? And you are able to see it. If you have any questions to ask me, you can use the chat to ask me questions, right? Instead of you talking to me verbally, right? But you're writing it down, yeah? So it's a dynamic process. It's a goal-oriented process. So communication is a very goal-oriented process, and it can be effective only if two things happen, right? If the sender and the receiver are aware of the goal of communication, both the sender and the receiver must be aware of the goal, and there is a congruence of the goal, which means what message the sender sends out, the receiver should also understand it, and it should be congruent. They should both understand what the goal means. If the sender has one goal and the receiver understands something else, there is no congruence. It's not the same thing. It's not the same understanding. This could result in miscommunication, or even if it's a business communication, it could also result in a loss of that business. The sixth point, communication is an interdisciplinary science, which means that it's a knowledge that's derived from various sciences. For example, anthropology, which is the study of body language; psychology, which involves the study of the mind; persuasion, perception, attitudes; sociology and political science as well. So basically, it's a study of voting behavior. And all of these sciences have provided insights. It's given ideas and insights, inputs to make communication effective. Does anybody have any questions so far? Yeah, so Anushruti also says that communication is all about what we feel and what we observe, to sharing our views with our colleagues, how to do the work, how to achieve the goal. Very good. Shakti says he needs some cheers. So, don't be sad. Pay attention, get a notebook, ask questions if you have any. Okay, don't be sad. This will be very easy for you. We will all understand how to communicate effectively. Yes, clear communication is very important. Okay, moving on. To do a quick recap of the lesson. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, please do use the chat feature, and do let me know if you have any questions or you have any ideas to share. That might be interesting too, right? So a quick recap of the lesson. Communication is derived from which word? A Latin word. What is it called? Communis. What does communis mean? It means to share. Okay, so keep this concept in mind. Communication, Latin word, communis, to share. Small bullet points. It's very easy for you to remember later, instead of making big elaborate phrases which you may not remember later. So it happens at least between two individuals. So one person is the sender and the other person is the receiver. Exchange of facts, information, ideas, opinions, or feeling, right? So the sender tries to transmit facts, information, ideas, opinions, or feelings. There's a transfer that happens from the sender to the receiver. It's basically an imparting of information, ideas, etc. by the sender. What is the purpose? What is the goal? To create an understanding of intended meaning in the mind of the receiver. The receiver has to try to understand the meaning which the sender has in his mind. Only then does communication happen effectively. And that is the goal. That is the goal of communication. Okay. We also came across certain important definitions, right? So you might want to go over that once again. What are the different forms of communication? You could write, you could speak. There could be visual forms, for example, YouTube videos, Insta, photos. Speaking could involve anything like the radio that you hear. You could do on the telephone, right, when you're calling someone. Writing could involve writing blogs to communicate, writing business emails, business correspondence, right? Could involve a lot of things. So think about the different forms that you have come across. Then, what is business communication? What is business communication? It's to transact a commercial activity which includes goods and services with the intention of making profit. Internal and external communication also happens in our business communication, right? So what is internal communication? It's basically the communication that happens between managers and the employees of an organization. External communication is what the company, the organization, puts out to the public so that they understand what's happening inside the company or what products or goods they are offering, they're trying to sell. And it involves the transmission and accurate replication of ideas. For example, a beverage company wants to sell happiness by opening the beverage, right? It tries to transmit the idea that, okay, if you have my beverage, you will be happy, right? And if you understand the same idea, you want to be happy, you're feeling sad, you want to drink something today, you can do that, right? So this is just a very simple, very basic example. You could try to think of many more. It's always ensured by feedback, right? So it is always ensured by feedback. For example, if I'm talking and I don't get a feedback, I don't know whether you've understood the idea or not, right? So if you understand it, say yes or give me a thumbs up, okay? But if you don't understand it, you tell me, no, ma'am, I've not understood it. Could you please repeat it again? Or what particular aspect you've not understood? And I'll help you with that, right? So it's always ensured by feedback to elicit action which will help achieve organizational goals. When an organization tries to sell a product, let's say a t-shirt, but nobody buys it, right? That means that the action that the company desired to do to actually the objective that the company wanted to attain has not been met, right? Which means the organization has not made profits. Maybe they haven't told people about it. Maybe they haven't publicized it enough. They haven't communicated it to the outside world, right? But if they do a good job, if they say, okay, I have a brand new t-shirt, you know, it's blue and it's very pretty and it's going to go very well on you in any weather, and then you feel like buying it, right? So the minute the company puts out this idea that, okay, I have this t-shirt which I want to sell to you, and the action that they're looking for is you buying it, paying them money, that helps them achieve their organizational goals. So what's important, what is essential is proficiency in written, spoken communication skills. And these are taught at business schools. It's insisted upon by companies also during recruitment. What are the features of communication, right? So some of you needed a recap of this part as well. What is interdisciplinary science, for example? So let me help you with that, right? So communication is a two-way process in which feedback is very, very important. It's highly essential. It decides the success or the failure of communication, which means if you understand exactly what the company is saying, the company has had a very successful communication. If you don't understand what the company is saying or the other person saying, that means the communication failed. It was not good enough, unfortunately. There are ways to get better at it. It's an ongoing process. It's a continuous process. It's an ongoing process. It's essential for all organizations and at all levels of management. So if a manager tells you, please do the work, you will do it. But if the manager doesn't give you, let's say, a deadline to finish that work, you may take 10 years to do it. You may take 5 minutes to do it, right? But if the manager tells you, okay, I want this work done, please, by tomorrow, 1 p.m. That's a deadline. That's effective communication. You both know that the work must be done before 1 p.m. tomorrow, for example, right? Otherwise, you could take 10 weeks to do it, 10 years to do it, or you might just not do it. I mean, okay. So I know you won't do that, but I'm just saying, just trying to be funny here. Okay. Then it includes facts, ideas, and emotions as well. So it involves verbal plus non-verbal communication ideas. For example, non-verbal includes tonal facial expressions, signs, symbols, and gestures. What is verbal communication? Anyone? What is verbal communication? What do you mean by verbal communication? Yeah, where you use words. Non-verbal would be where you use your body language, where you use your tone of voice, right? If I'm happy, I'll use a very happy tone of voice, right? I might even smile, so my facial expression goes with it. But if I'm angry, let's say, somebody has stolen my wallet, I'm going to be very angry and I'm going to say, no, this person stole my wallet. So my tone changes. I'm not going to be very happy saying, oh my God, he stole my wallet, right? So the way I say it, my facial expressions as well as my tone also matters. Signs, symbols, gestures do as well. Okay, so the way you use your body language is also very important. If you're not interested in something and you fold your arms and you look away, you're dreaming. So that means that you're not interested. So you're not telling me that, but your body language gives it away. But if you are interested, you'll be like sitting upright, you'll be making notes. So again, that tells me that you are interested, right? So you have to be cognizant, you have to be aware of these facts, okay, of what is going on around you, which comes to this part, that it's a dynamic process. It involves changes in participants as well as the environment. So the environment makes a very big difference. Also the changes in participants. Who are you trying to communicate to? A group of kids, a group of adults, a group of teenagers, right? In what environment? In your house, at work, on the road, in a cab, right? So it's a dynamic process. The way we deal with people changes all the time. It's a highly goal-oriented process also, which means that there must be an awareness of the goal as well as congruence of the goal, which means that the sender and receiver are both aware of the goal and they both understand the goal. It's an interdisciplinary science. Interdisciplinary means it's a mixture of different disciplines, right? What is a discipline? It's a path of study. It's a way of study. For example, you have anthropology, which is study of body language, psychology, which is a study of behavior, of mind, etc. And sociology, the study of society, and political science, the study of voting, how you think about political parties, etc. The ideas, the ideologies, right? So communication involves a mix of all of these inputs that we get from these subjects. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now is a very important segment actually. It's basically to observe the manner in which you communicate. How do you communicate? Think about it. Okay, this is a very, very interesting task. Observe the way in which you communicate with your family members, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your classmates, with vendors. Vendors are people that you buy things from, shopkeepers, for example. With clients, people that you may be working with who will pay you to do their work, and with strangers. How do you deal with all of these? Think about it. How do you communicate with all of these categories of people? Yeah, looking at the live chat, if anybody has any ideas, how do you normally communicate with your family? Is it formal? Is it informal? Yes, Vishnupriya, yes. So you communicate with everyone, exactly. So we all communicate with everyone, but how do we do it? How do I communicate with my mom? How do I communicate with my father? Orally, family is quite formal or informal? Yeah, you communicate with friends, but how? Would you say good evening to a friend or would you say hello to a friend? It depends. It depends also on, your background, where you where you grew up, etc. But usually with family and friends, if we just say hi, what's up, how are you? That's good, right? But if you're talking to a colleague or if you're talking with a client, if you say hi, what's up, it may or may not work all the time. Again, it depends on where the client is from, right? So if the client is from the US, a hi would be okay. But if the client is, let's say, a very old person and he doesn't understand or doesn't want to, be involved with the word hi, you'll have to say good evening, sir, for example.
Hello. Hello. I think you can see me. Can you guys see me? If you can see me, please do let me know if there is any issue. Class got over. So, Madhuri, are you there? Hello? Hello, Madhuri? I'm not sure if Madhuri ma'am is there. So first, did you understand what happened in today's class? Did you understand what happened in today's class? We can continue. Okay, Ria is saying we can continue. And then we'll see. So did you understand? Yes. So everybody's telling yes, yes, and all that. Okay. Okay, fine. So I think Madhuri ma'am is joining back. So yeah, so she's here. So
Yeah.
I have come back.
Yeah. So
Okay.
sorry about that. There was some technical glitch and I just got logged out. But
Sure. Is the class over or?
no. We were almost done. Alok, could you give
Okay.
me 2 minutes, please? Let me just wind up
No,
with.
please take your time, how much ever you want.
Yeah,
Please take
thank
your
you so
time.
much.
Okay.
And thank you so much, guys, for being so patient. Really sorry. There was some issue with the internet and I got logged out for a minute there. Thank you so much, though. Okay, so think about the way in which you communicate with family, right? So a lot of you have been saying that with family and friends, it's informal. How do you communicate with vendors, strangers, clients? Yeah. So I can see that quite a few of you are also saying that yes, that's formal conversation. Yes, formal communication. Very good. Right. Very good. And the way you communicate with all of these people, is it effective or is it not effective? If it is effective, what good things do you do? If you think it's not effective, where you're trying to convey an idea or a message, but the other person doesn't receive it properly, doesn't understand it properly, how will you improve that? Right? So these are ideas to keep in your mind, right? Whenever you communicate effectively. I mean, that's the goal, to try and have a very effective communication. So now the next chapter which we are going to do is the importance and the process of communication. So I would like to invite all of you to join in, to join class. Alok sir will tell us how to do that. And yes, so that was the end of our session. I really hope you had a good time, and I hope you think about this task all the time, right? Observe the way in which you communicate, and you will be very good at it one fine day, if you are not already very good at it, right? So it's a continuous process. You keep evolving with it. Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, Alok. Thank you so much, Alok sir, for having me.
Sure. So that's nice to know. So that was Madhuri's class, and all of you have participated very well. I can see that the comment section is completely fired up. So many of you have shared your comments. That's really nice to know. So now again, a reminder, if you have still not joined, make sure that you go to the description box of this video and join the live classes. Of course, tomorrow is another free class where I join you for legal aptitude. We'll continue with company law, the basics of company law. But from Monday, there are no more videos on YouTube, no more free videos. We want you to join the paid classes. And of course, as you know, the paid classes are almost free because of the situation out there. We understand what parents are going through, what students are going through. We are just covering our basic costs, and we have charged a very minimal fees. Make sure that you join if you still have not joined. Most of you here have actually joined, but you still haven't. Tomorrow is the last free class. Make sure you join. And from Monday again is my class where we have legal aptitude. We'll share the timetable. So anybody here has any questions, not about a business communication? I'm sure you asked that. If you still have, you can ask. Madhuri ma'am is still here. But apart from that, if you have any other questions generally about CSEET or these, yeah, so all of you, you will give you the instructions. You'll have to have the Zoom app. You can have it on mobile or laptop or your computer. It's going to be there, and the recorded version will be on our Ekcel Academy website. Ekcel Academy website, Ekcel Academy app. If you already don't have it, please download Ekcel Academy app, and make sure you download Zoom also. We'll be having the classes over there. That is live classes, and recorded will be on our app and website. You can always watch it all the way till your exams. And apart from that, quizzes, MCQs, and we are going to have a group where teachers can solve your doubt and all of that. So it is going to be a class where you have the physical classroom experience, not just like online. Just putting a camera in front of teacher is not online. We need to have a collaborative process, and that is what we are striving at Ekcel, right? Had a Ma'am, you're a wonderful teacher. Thank you, ma'am. I'm enjoying the class with you. Anshruti Saxena. So we
That's so sweet. That's really sweet. And they've been so patient as well. Unfortunately, I got cut off, and they were so patient to wait. And it's just so much fun being with Excel, and yeah, looking forward to more classes.
great. So we have many more comments like that. Then there's one, this Akriti Jain. Sir, all the classes, what was that? All the classes which are already delivered are available or not? So those things also will be available for the paid students. For the free course on CSEET, that access will be removed from Monday onwards. See, we have been fair enough. We have given you free classes for more than 2 months, which is recorded classes, and live classes 1 week free. Nobody has done that. We have been very fair enough. We have given everything only after you have tasted the quality of our classes, we are asking you to pay again a very minimal fees. So I'm sure you understand that. So we have been fair enough, and I'm sure you'll do really well. And like I always tell, it is not just you're paying some money and we are giving you some classes. Once you join us, you'll be with our community, that is Excel Academy's community of students and teachers and seniors, and that will make your journey to complete the CS course very smooth. And that is our main goal here. That our goal is not just you pay some money, we give some class. It doesn't end there. Once you join us, till the day you complete this course, you're always with us, and we are with you in this journey of 3 to 4 years which you take to complete this. Right? It is not some one-off exam. That is why we want you to come and be part of this community. We don't want you to pay a huge fees, since we have 75% discount or 75% scholarship right now. That is for everybody. Make sure you use it right now. So all that Sudarshan will give all the details. When is the classes? All that will be shared. Don't worry. You have, even tomorrow we have legal aptitude with me. So don't worry about all that. Nice to see all of you there. So I think we are done with this. Madhuri, can we close, or do you have anything else to share? Any closing remarks?
No, so I just wanted to show that, how communication works, right? For example, right now, we had a good session because YouTube helps us connect as well, right? Like right now for the free class, it did help us, where the students could ask me questions in the chat box. So, just basic ideas like this, if the students keep in mind, how to communicate with the other person, especially when they're doing business with a client, right? Or with their employer, with the managers, I think it will really help them out. So just being aware of the fact of how one communicates, that's great. So that's how I would like to close my session. And thank you so much again for having me. It was really
So
nice.
here there is one question, Susan. Is the study material sufficient for business communication? See, generally study material is more than good enough, but we here, the teachers at Excel, don't just restrict themselves to the study material. There is so much more that. In fact, you saw it in today's class itself. So with this study material and the teacher sessions, that should be more than enough. It's a multiple choice question exam. With right preparation, that should be sufficient. Great. I have doubt. 1, 2, 3 lesson. They will ask question in book or only. Narayan Hari. They can ask anyhow. We can't guess like that. See, you understand one thing, not just for this subject. If your concepts are clear, you really should not bother whether they ask from book or here or there, because it's not a memory test. We are not testing your memory. Our institute is not testing your memory, right? It is your knowledge, your skill, and your concepts. So you don't worry from where will they ask. If your concepts are good, you should really not be worried or bothered, is what I feel. Okay, great. So I think everybody's done a great job. And thank you guys all for joining. And generally, for anything else you want, make sure you are in touch with us on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm giving you everyday tips on MCQs. Then we have a Telegram group exclusively for CSEET. All these links are in the description of this video. Make sure you check out the description of the video. Just join. All these groups are completely free. Make sure you are part of our community. And before I end, again, if you have still not joined, make sure you join the paid classes. So even those links are in the description. Thank you very much for being here. And I'll be ending the session now. Thanks a lot for joining. Thank you.